Hello, my name is Fabricio Titiro, and I'm part of the Oracle Hospitality Integrations team. Thank you for joining this session to learn from some of the first early adopters of our Oracle Hospitality Integration platform and how customers and partners are already leveraging the capabilities of this platform to drive more and more innovation for their hotels. Joining with me as a co-host is my colleague, Mike Provost. Hello, Mike.
Hi, Fabricio.
Hello. And actually, we have two guests joining us, one to bring the customer perspective. Hello, Jim.
Hi, Mike. Hi, Fabricio.
Hello. And we have Neil joining us also from RateWise to present the partner vision into this presentation.
Hi, everybody. Nice to be here.
So we're going to start with we have prepared some great questions for both of you. And this is going to give us the opportunity to hear from both sides of the story. And I think you also are bringing into this webcast to Hospitality Connect also a unique story really from both of you, because there's a very special story there behind RateWise and Prem. So why don't we get started with the customer side of the story? So I'll leave it up to you, Mike. Thank you.
Thanks, Fabricio. So here we are, as Fabricio said, at Virtual Connect. So Jim Murphy, you are here with us from Prem Group. Welcome. Maybe you can just do a quick introduction and tell us a little bit about your company.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. Thanks for having us on. It's a pleasure. As you said, my name is Jim Murphy. I'm the CEO of Prem Group. Let me just give you a little bit on Prem. It's an international hotel and hospitality management company, and we operate multiple businesses across Europe. I founded Prem a long time ago, back in was 1996, and over that period we've built up extensive experience and expertise across all sectors of hospitality. And within the group, I'll have to explain it, we have multiple hospitality related companies. It can be a bit confusing, but we've separated our business into a number of different divisions. We have a digital marketing agency, we have a hotel tours division, we've RateWise, which we're going to talk about today, our revenue management software company. But we also have an operating company called Prem Hospitality, which currently operates 38 hotels and service apartment properties in Ireland, the UK, Belgium, and the Netherlands. We're looking to grow our business in all those regions, and we're looking to move into Germany and also into Austria in the next few years. So we're very ambitious, and we're always looking at new ways of doing business. We met Niall in RateWise back in 2016. At that time, we were looking to automate some of our revenue management practices and also our financial reporting. We started working with RateWise. We liked it actually so much that we decided back in 2018 to invest in the company. We're hoteliers. We saw a great opportunity to drive that business, to develop the software. But also as entrepreneurs, we see ourselves as an entrepreneurial business. We also saw a good business opportunity. So today we're very proud of what we've achieved so far with RateWise. We have a lot more to do. We have a client base that has a global reach, and our partner hotels now far exceed the Prem Group hotels that use the products. So it's exciting for us. We get a lot of feedback from our hotel partners, and that motivates us to constantly improve the RateWise product offering. So that's a few minutes, give you an update on Prem. There's a lot in the company, but yeah, we're very happy to be working with RateWise. It's a great tool, and it's really driving our business forward all the time.
Excellent. With such a large portfolio and such a diverse portfolio, like you said, keeping those integrations active and always having work to be done, I imagine, is an ongoing project. So, and speaking of projects like that, maybe you can tell us a little bit about your experience so far with connecting applications to Opera using OHIP with our new integration platform.
Yeah, well, there was a big team working on this within the group, and the experience from the team with working with Opera Cloud has been really, really positive. very user-friendly on the ground. You know, we went live in the PMS onto our front office teams while the hotels were open and trading, and the transition worked very well. So the feedback I'm getting from the team was the onboarding process was very smooth. The team were very happy, and you know, you'd be glad to hear to speak very highly of the product.
Excellent. And one of the things we talked about before was innovation, and you mentioned how innovation is important to the group, and particularly as you expand out and keep things fresh. And how important is innovation specifically to your company, and what role do you see OHIP and the marketplace playing in helping to enable that?
Yeah, I suppose, you know, when we came out of the last recession, we were growing our business quite fast, and we set about automating as much of our procedures as possible. Like we work very hard on automating our purchasing model, HR, accounting, pretty much all our reporting systems, training, and even employee induction today can be done remotely in part and on site as well. So we spend a lot of time working on automation over the last 10 years. And now that we've moved into this Opera Cloud and seeing the marketplace for the first time, it's fantastic to be able to see all those suppliers that can provide even more automated solutions for us, so that we can convert even more of our manual processes. It's, you know, the marketplace provides us with a lot of options that we haven't previously seen. It's a great shop window. I keep saying it's like a big shop window, and as early adopters, we look forward to exploring that even further over the next coming months. But yeah, we're excited about it, and what I've seen of it so far has really been very positive, and very cool. I've no doubt we're going to use it extensively.
Excellent. You've mentioned how innovation is so important, and as part of the early adopter, Prem Group was among one of the first ones that embraced Opera Cloud and enabled some integrations via OHIP. So what trends, in your opinion, should hoteliers be aware of so they can be successful as they move forward doing the same thing?
Yeah, well, look, I suppose over the last pre-COVID, we saw an awful lot of new software suppliers coming to the market that were providing solutions such as guest confirmation software, upselling tools, etc. And you know, we think hoteliers have to be conscious of these software suppliers, and the marketplace is going to give you access to them. And you know, I think hoteliers in general like the flexibility to be able to move suppliers more frequently, and the OHIP environment facilitates that. I know it's early days, and we, for one, are only beginning to look at the possibilities, but so much software is coming, user-friendly software for the hospitality sector is coming our way every day, and I think the opportunity is there now to actually see this in one window and one area, such as the marketplace. And I would encourage all hoteliers that are focused on innovation to explore all the opportunities that are there.
Excellent. And I'd love to dig into more of this. I know we're running low on time here, but just one last question. So would you like to share maybe your top 3 recommendations, excuse me, for customers that are exploring new applications in the marketplace? So what are some of the things that they should be looking at?
Yeah, well, I think it's one thing that's important is to research the product. Obviously, what I like about the Opera Cloud in particular is that the cost of entry is very low. So you know, what's the pricing? It's very important. We spent a lot of time researching the products in the market, and pricing is very important for us. What we also liked is the availability of a free trial. We took advantage of that in one of our properties, I think in Amsterdam, when we started out on this journey. We also do it with RateWise. So we encourage anybody that there's free trials available there, and take them on board and try them out and see what the product is like. Obviously, due diligence is essential, and pay close attention to the terms and conditions. I know a lot of us don't like looking at the small print. I'm one of those, but get somebody within the organization to go through the terms and conditions with a fine and tooth comb. It's very important to read the small print and understand what's involved. And for me, I would recommend anybody to see any product that they're looking at, to see it in a live situation. Talk to somebody that is using the app, the software, get testimonials, and suppliers generally will give access to customers as reference sites. We do it in RateWise. I know you guys do it in Oracle as well. So it is my experience that if you get time with a user, you will generally get a very honest appraisal of what the app is about and what it can do for your business. So they're the three things: research, don't forget the terms and conditions, do your due diligence properly, and get to meet a customer, get to meet somebody who's using the product.
It's funny, as technology changes and as things get easier to connect, we still have to go back to those basics of, do your due diligence, even though it's easy, and
I know
it's all this.
It can be painful at times, but it has to be done, unfortunately.
Yeah, absolutely. So Jim, thank you for joining us from Prem Group. I'd love to dig into some of this more with you at a future date.
Thank you. My pleasure.
And Fabricio, I'll pass it back to you. We'll see. We talked about the customer side of things. Now let's talk about the partner side of things and see where we go there.
Thank you, Mike, and thank you, Jim. That has been really amazing hearing all that feedback from a customer, right? From what I would say, a happy customer, and with all that feedback and that focus on innovation and the marketplace. So let's move the conversation into the partner community and all what we are doing to help basically all that innovation and all those applications reach the customer. So thank you, Neil, for joining us again. And I'm going to start with a quick question there for you. Would you be so kind to briefly introduce yourself, briefly introduce RateWise, and what is your organization focused on today?
Sure. Yeah. Thanks, Fabrizio. My name is Niall O'Mara. I'm the development team lead for RateWise. It's my role. I look after all the design and analysis work on the system, from new features and functionality to, of course, API connections. I also oversee all the development work itself. I'm in this role now for 3 years, but I have been involved with RateWise since its inception in 2006 or so. So RateWise itself is a revenue management company working with branded hotels and unbranded hotels throughout Europe and worldwide. Our software product consists of a cloud-based revenue management tool combined with a business analytics tool. We also provide consultancy services throughout Europe, and those services will be all around yielding generally and managing and reducing costs for properties. As Jim mentioned, RateWise was Prem have invested, our major investor in RateWise. And actually, as part of the whole OHIP process, this has been a huge help because right from the beginning, we get involved the business side in the design of the connection and make sure that we are kind of working to something that would suit them. We also, of course, had access to the US test environment of Prem Group, which was very helpful because we have realistic data coming back and forth as we did the development testing. And actually, in Prem Group, we're actually rolling out Opera Cloud in parallel with us doing the development with OHIP, which meant that we could work closely with the hotels, in the Prem hotels, to ensure the approach we were taking would cover all their needs as we were working our way through it.
Thank you so much. So I think you covered there a lot on why RateWise joined OHIP, but I'm sure that's not probably the only reason. And so what can you tell us? What were the main reasons for RateWise to join? And also, Niall, what can you tell us about your experience so far with this innovative platform?
Yeah, well, the initial requirement was to connect to OHIP was our kind of baseline requirement, which is to extract occupancy data out of Opera, so that we can do our revenue management calculations within RateWise. And then the other side of that requirement is, once the calculations have been done and the rates have been optimized within RateWise, we then push those rates back into the PMS itself, into Opera in this case. So that was our initial immediate requirement. But as it happened, as we looked closely at OHIP and the approach that Oracle have taken here, I suppose there were three things that became quite apparent to us. Is the self-service approach was very, very helpful to us, because it just meant that we could just work independently and not needing to, too much support from your side, which is, great from our perspective, because, any delays that are going to happen are just pretty much on our side. Low cost from a sales perspective, the low cost model that you guys have brought in there, with it's more transaction fee based as opposed to upfront cost based, means it's, from a sales perspective, it's easier for us to approach Oracle on-premise customers, for example, and talk to them about moving to cloud and what's involved, and the costs that are quite affordable actually. And as part of that process as well, when we're talking to on-premise Opera customers, we can explain how straightforward the process is to move over. And again, that would be existing customers who are on-premise, but also prospects that might be using Opera on-premise as well. So it's just opened our eyes a bit as to what might be possible. In terms of the experience so far, it's been very, very positive. The team there, very responsive, particularly yourself, Fabrizio, have been a big help to us. Documentation has been good and strong. And overall, the level of information that's available is very comprehensive, with the Slack channel, the portals, and the webinars that you guys have done through the last few months, all very, very helpful in terms of progressing this as fast as we could.
That's fantastic feedback, Neil. Now, in the end, I always think that there has to be an outcome of all of these processes and experience, and in the end, that only outcome from an Oracle hospitality perspective is innovation, right? And I think that's a very important word that I heard Jim also mentioning a few times there. So from a RateWise perspective, right, how important is innovation for RateWise? And how much innovation do you see OHIP enabling for our joint customers through this self-service and these next generation APIs?
Yeah, well, naturally, as a software development company, innovation is very, very important to us. We consider ourselves a leading edge revenue management provider. So yeah, we're constantly looking to evolve our product and grow it. And as for all software, it never stands still. If you stand still, you're going backwards. So we have to be constantly looking to innovate. So in terms of OHIP and how that might help us, first thing is that the OHIP is so open and so comprehensive. So from what I can see, every single aspect of UI is available through OHIP, or will be available through OHIP if it's not already, which just kind of opens up a world of possibilities for us. And in fact, we've numerous plans over the last few months of where we could possibly go beyond our initial requirement. In particular, the business events model is actually been very, it's given us loads of ideas in terms of new business events we could tap into to pick up on new areas and new pieces of data. So I mean, one direction that we'll probably come to it shortly, but one direction that we're kind of focusing on a lot now is data mining and business analytics generally. So again, business events and what's available through OHIP has just kind of opened our eyes as to where we could go next for Opera customers, for Opera Cloud customers. I think the other thing that's worth mentioning, very important from a development perspective, is that once we identify new areas that we want to develop, and we can actually start on that work immediately, because everything is available through OHIP, everything's documented, it's all there, and it's just a case of finding the correct API and doing the design work, and hopefully straight into the development work from there. So it's opened up many, many possibilities for us, which is fantastic.
Thank you so much for that feedback, Neil. So basically, our audience here today at Hospitality Connect are all avid to learn always about new trends, right? And the area where RateWise is focused is definitely one of the most trendy areas, and it has such an impact, right, on the operations and the revenue at the hotel. So can you share some ideas on what are those key trends that our customers here at Hospitality Connect should be aware of?
Yeah, the first one I would say that I mentioned briefly just in the last response was data mining. So my experience, or our experience with revenue managers generally, is that they're very detail focused, very figures focused, and as we develop new features for them, we get very strong feedback, of course, and we kind of work hard to make sure that what we are developing is relevant and useful. But usually the response might be, oh, this is really, really great, but now that you've done this, could you also provide this piece of information as well? So, data mining and that whole general direction of just pouring into the data, so that the logic that they set up within RateWise can be as appropriate as possible to yield. And then for any, sort of individual yielding they wish to do themselves, once they have the data, it makes their job so much easier rather than having to go to numerous places to get it and lose time that way. So it's all about getting the data out into the hands of the revenue manager. So that's the first thing, data mining. I would say the second thing, and we're really focusing on this now in RateWise, is more granular yielding. So, typically in the past for us, the approach has been property-based yielding across the property and so on. Whereas now we are really kind of drilling into the data and getting into market segmentation very much, but also rate plans, room types, source codes, bringing that all in and, really getting down into detail, especially as hopefully the hotels, the outlook approves for hotels into next year and so on. So that would be they were the two things I would say.
That's very interesting. Thank you so much. My final question is around the marketplace. As Tim, actually, as a customer, mentioned it so much, the marketplace is where the hoteliers are going to be going and looking for those innovators out there, for all those new companies, for trying, for testing, for finding established player, but also innovative startups, right? So from a partner perspective, from a vendor perspective, what will be your top 3 recommendations on what customers should be aware when looking for solutions there on the marketplace?
Yeah, I suppose that this one is a little bit more challenging for me. I have to step into the role of a potentially customer as opposed to a vendor. But I would say if I was looking at the marketplace and considering a solution there as a hotelier, first thing I'd be looking at would be customer reviews themselves and what they have to say about the product. That's obviously very important to see what the general feedback is and how it fits the needs, the requirements of the hotels. Another thing which it's important for us is local support. So we provide support across Europe and across the Asian time zones as well, most of the Asian time zones. So I think that's kind of something that I hear a lot from customers, is they want you there available at the end of the phone or an email or whatever with local support. So that'll be my second thing. And then maybe in terms of the marketplace itself, what level of integration does the vendor have with Opera? What exactly has been put in place for the area in question, whether it's revenue management or something else? What has been put in place? What is not there? So it's very important to get into the detail of what is covered in their connection with Opera and maybe what's not in that connection. They're the 3 things I would suggest.
That's fantastic feedback, Neil. Thank you so much. So I think that has been quite an interesting conversation, Mike. I'm sure we would love to continue this chat, right? But we are short on time, like you say, at some point.
For sure. I'm actually glad we're recording this, because otherwise I'd be furiously taking notes over here on some of the things that I'm hearing. Some great feedback. So thank you, gentlemen, for joining us today.
You're welcome.
Our pleasure.
My pleasure. Thank you.